What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar for tomorrow, so we have more data coming out and some big news involving Tesla expanding their robotaxi in Austin, Texas. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or sign up with my QR code that's right over here. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below, you're going to get lots of benefits such as free NVIDIA stock. If you sign up and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free NVIDIA stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of NVIDIA. Deposit $100,000 to get $300 worth, and deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 of free NVIDIA stock. You also qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. That includes a 4.1% APY base rate plus a 4% APY for an extra 3 months. This offer ends very, very soon, so please check it out before they run out. You guys can sign up with my QR code or use my links down below to get all these free NVIDIA stock giveaways. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with Tesla. So with Tesla, we're still consolidating. We're still going back and forth between supply and demand. Now, if we lose the 300 area, there could be a much larger dump all the way down towards the 290s. As long as we hold 300, we're going to be looking for an attempt to push higher for essentially the 312 to 315 area. So if we break 312, we're looking for an attempt for 315. We're going to see if we break past this to push up to these highs or not. And I see some upside potential for Tesla, although it's not making too much of a big move, despite some good news that's been coming out. So if we hold 312, I think we're going to be looking for basically an attempt to get to about 315. And then if we break that, we have a lot of room to push higher for like the 320s. But keep in mind, even if we do push a bit higher, we're going to likely continue to consolidate like this. This is all Tesla's essentially doing until we break either 330 to push higher, or if we lose support at the low 300s to start dumping, we're still stuck in the middle. So with that being said, I'm going to break down more details about Tesla news and then talk about the charts. Just so you guys know, RBC Capital is saying Tesla will likely outperform the market, which is some good news. But the price-price ratio is starting to dip a bit, which shows Tesla's losing a little bit of strength compared to the markets. Not the best of news. Tuesdays are known for being green about 55% of the time for Tesla historically, or sorry, 51.5% of the time, excuse me, guys, historically. And that's some good news. But then when you look at our data, there tends to be more volatility at 10 a.m. and also at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's all we're seeing for Tesla, just the same old data. But there was some good news. After weeks since the initial rollout, Tesla's robotaxi is going to be increasing the overall square miles of the coverage for their driverless ride-hailing service. Now it's going to be covering 80 square miles, and they're going to continue to expand more and more and more and more, which is awesome news, which shows that the robotaxi is becoming reliable. It's very, very awesome. It's getting used to the area. It's learning from its data, and we're going to see these continue to scale like crazy. So imagine how fast they can scale as time goes on. On top of this, in California, they do have a robotaxi that's launched there in a small region in the Bay Area. But keep in mind, there has to be a driver behind the wheel that has to basically either keep their hands near the wheel or at the wheel just for a safety precaution. However, FSD is incorporated and their hands could hover like under or over the wheel. Let it just use its FSD to drive itself, and then they interfere if anything goes wrong. That's what their job is due to California regulation. But nonetheless, Tesla's continuing to increase its foots in California, in Austin, Texas. Soon it's going to be in Nevada, then eventually Florida, according to Elon Musk. That's some good news. Now, some more good news is that Tesla sold 838 vehicles in Norway, grabbing an 8.8% of the total market. And we saw a nice increase as the sales are up 83% compared to last year. The Model Y is doing very well. There's also a pay package for Elon Musk worth $29 billion. This is what's being proposed by the Tesla board. However, we're going to see if this is voted upon. The shareholders have to vote either yes or no to this. Musk does deserve a pay package, but whether it's this high or not is up to the shareholders to decide. So we'll see how that goes during the next shareholder meeting in a couple of months, so keep that in mind. With that being said, that's it for Tesla news. We are trying to consolidate and try to bounce just a little bit. So we might try to go a bit higher if we hold up. But I do want to warn you guys to be careful because tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. Now, in the morning, okay, we have export and import data coming out 1 hour before market open, which is quite minor. Then at 9:45 a.m., which is basically 15 minutes after the stock market opens, we have the S&P Global Composite and Services PMI reports. This may cause some volatility, so please be ready for this. And then at 10 o'clock a.m., we have the ISM Services PMI, business activity, new orders, and employment. So watch to see what this leads to 30 minutes after the stock market opens. So expect volatility 15 and 30 minutes after market open, and we'll see what that leads to moving forward. That's going to be very, very key. Now, Palantir just announced their earnings. They're doing relatively well with big contracts and good growth. On Tuesday, we have Pfizer before market open, and then after market close, we have AMD and Supermicro. On Wednesday, we have Uber, Shopify, and then Walt Disney announcing earnings. And then that's pretty much it. Everything else is going to be more minor for the end of the week. But we do have some big chip stocks announcing earnings on Tuesday, may cause some volatility for chips. So we'll see how that goes. Palantir did well. They have $10 billion U.S. Army deals that have been signed. That's good news for them. And on top of this, we saw their earnings looking pretty good. Revenue is up 48% year over year. Good growth and great deals alongside the leverage they're gaining from AI. Good news when it comes to their growth. And they ended up raising their future forecasts. So good guidance by Palantir. Good growth. That's why the share price is up. Now, a quick tariff update before I start talking about Tesla stock. Okay. President Trump has made it very, very clear that he wants to set higher tariffs. And now we're seeing the U.S. Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer, saying that the upcoming days are likely not going to see changes to the tariffs. They're going to likely be set between 10 and 41%, according to him, starting on August 7th, which is going to be this Thursday. President Trump also says he's going to substantially increase tariffs on India. Here's his exact quote right over here. He said that India is not only buying massive amounts of Russian oil, they are then, for much of the oil purchased, selling it to the open market for big profits. And he's saying he's not happy about this. That's why he wants to substantially raise the tariff paid by India to the US. So there's a 10% base tariff on India plus a 40% penalty that he's been talking about. That's some big news. Once that's imposed, it could be affecting trade for, almost $100 billion worth of product. And then these are the deals that came out so far. We have the UK, Vietnam, Indonesia, and many other countries, and then the European Union. China and Mexico still have deals. They have more time to negotiate. Mexico has a 90-day extension, whereas China has until like August 12th, and they could extend that. But besides that, the majority of countries will be looking for higher tariffs starting on August 7th. So it's a very important day for the stock market this Thursday. President Trump made this very, very clear that he's not going to back down. So what does this mean? August 7th is the big deadline. President Trump said that he wants to be strict on India and Brazil. He mentioned that he's not happy with a lot of things involving geopolitics, and he's going to do what's necessary for the country. He said that if countries want to do business with the U.S., they have to be facing these high tariffs, and this could affect the stock market big time by Thursday, so be ready, guys. For now, there is some good news. The U.S. made a deal with the European Union, and for now, although there's more negotiations to go, for now, they are going to pause the retaliatory tariffs in the U.S. So the Europeans want to pause those, according to both President Trump and the European Commissioner. So good news, at least so far. With that being said, what do I see for Tesla in the markets? Well, honestly, guys, Tesla is still consolidating. We're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between supply and demand. So this is all I really see for the time being. Now, for the short term, here are some key levels. Now, in case you want to be a big bear, you want to see Tesla lose support at this 300 area. If we lose 300, we're looking for a dip towards 290. I think there's going to be a big dump if 300 fails us. If you're a bull, you watch resistance at 312. If we break that, we're looking for 315. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt to push for like 320. My gut tells me this might be trying to go a little bit higher. We might consolidate like this. And then there could be an attempt to go back up towards that like 315 area. So please keep that in mind for a temporary move up as the most likely possibility. Now, just like Tesla, we're seeing actually SPY, the QQQ, looking quite bullish. I think we could be squeezing a little bit higher temporarily, okay? The squeeze might not last forever. It could be a bull trap. But for now, we could be looking a bit more bullish just for the short term. And that could drag Tesla a bit higher. The market does like to, once again, lead Tesla sometimes, especially as of recent, because Tesla is not as strong as it's been previously. So tomorrow, I would not be surprised if we kind of consolidate like this, as long as we don't lose 300. There could be a bounce attempt for 312 after we consolidate, and then 315. If we break 315, we could be going a bit higher, but I don't think we just break it like that. We might consolidate like this and close kind of like this. Trade a little bit sideways, but there might be some upside potential. Nonetheless, looking at the current trends, I find that to be very, very probable. Now, another reason why I say this is because when you look at the daily time frame of Tesla, we're kind of indecisive, consolidating, stuck with this doji-like candlestick. And then on the weekly, we're also indecisive. So Tesla's very indecisive. It's range bound on the weekly between 312 and 299. So for now, we have a range to watch for, and I think there's a good chance we see some consolidation, then possibly a little bit of upside. So we could test like 312 and consolidate, and eventually push for like 315. So we'll see how this goes. That's going to be very, very key for how we end up moving. But you could also argue this resembles kind of like a left shoulder, a head and then a right shoulder, inverse head and shoulders. An accumulation right here, then an attempt to get back up to like 315 to 320 for a temporary bounce on Tesla. But even if we do push past 315, okay, we could be looking for essentially 325, back down, back down like this for some consolidation as we have this like sideways channel. We're not really doing a whole lot. So we're still kind of stuck just like this. So keep that in mind. That's going to be very key for how we end up moving. So that's going to be very, very key. For other tickers out there, especially for like SPY, we're looking a bit more bullish. Now, if you're a bear on SPY, just hypothetically, you want to see us fail at 626. If that fails us, we're going to be likely dipping to fill this gap to 622. So you need 631 to fail us and 626 to be bearish. If you're bullish, you want to see us basically push past 631. If we hold this, we're looking for an attempt for 635, and we'll see if we push past that or not to get to 638. Those are your bullish and bearish cases. Now, here's the thing, okay? We are temporarily bouncing, but this could be resembling a slanted head and shoulders. Excuse the lines, but in case we look like this, even if we go all the way up to like 635 or so, we could still reject on a slanted head and shoulders like this. So I presume, and what my prediction is that this is going to be a trap for bulls. I think that they're trying to trap bulls unless we break the all-time high. Right, I'm going to be more bullish if we break the all-time high, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think that we're going to come a little bit short, and we're going to be pushing for like that 635 area if we hold 631. And then if we can't hold above that, we might be forming some kind of top here before we start to turn back down to fill this gap. I do find this to be the most likely setup. We try to pump higher, but then once we get President Trump's tariffs, or maybe even the data tomorrow, whatever the catalyst is, this pump may be just very temporary. We could be looking for like 635 or so, then some consolidation, and then there could be a big rejection. Now, don't just blindly short at 635. You have to watch for confirmation, and that could also lead to a rejection. Even if we go a little bit higher, if we break the all-time high, we'll change my mind. But as of right now, I have a feeling we're going to come a little short of the all-time high. And then if we come short of the all-time high, we could just kind of consolidate like this and turn back down. So keep that in mind for SPY. I do anticipate that to be one of the most likely possibilities. For Tesla, it's the same thing. So we could try to push a bit higher for 312 to 315. Then we'll see if we reject back down because of the way in which this is moving. So 315 is kind of like where we have this range. I'm not sure if we just break past this and run, we might just kind of like reject and turn back down. So give that the time it needs. But we could be going a little higher on Tesla, by the way. 312 to 315 could be tested. If we break through 315, it's going to be a little bit more bullish. So if 315 breaks, we could be going for like 320. But then even if we push a bit higher, whether it's like 315 to 322, we could still reject back down. So keep that in mind, whether we reject off 315 or go a little bit higher, we could be looking for rejection afterwards. So I'm just trying to be very clear that Tesla is just range bound. Even if we push just a little bit higher, keep that in mind. For the QQQ, we're looking bullish. If we lose 562, there's going to be a risk of us dipping towards like 560. And if that fails us, I think we fill the gap back down to 553 or below. If we're bullish, you want to break 566. If that breaks, we're looking for 570 as our potential target. My guts tells me we consolidate and push for like 570 as our target. If we can't hold above 575, that could just be another lower high. And then with the tariffs coming out, that could turn us right back down. So we had a high, came down, might make a lower high, and then turn back down on the QQQ. So we might try to push a bit higher for 566 tomorrow. If that breaks, we're looking for 570. Then we'll see if we turn right back down from there. So keep that in mind. For the IWM, we're making lower highs like this. We have basically resistance at 221. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt to push to like 222.5. This is support becoming resistance, and we'll see if we reject again. If we lose 216, that's bearish, but this might try to push a bit higher for 222, and we'll see if we reject or not. For ES, we're looking a bit more bullish. We're favoring upside unless we lose 63.50 to start dumping. If we hold above 63.50, I think we're favoring an attempt for 6,400. Previous support becoming resistance here. Then we're going to see if we continue to break the all-time high. We might come short. So this is my prediction. We might come short and turn right back down instead. There's a very, very good chance that's going to happen. So keep that in mind. We might come short of the all-time high. We're still looking bullish for now on NQ. We could be looking for an attempt for 23,500 or above. But we need to break 24,000 to continue to run. If we can't, we could turn back down and push towards like 23,200. So keep that in mind. Bitcoin's looking bullish. We have 115,000 resistance. We could be pushing towards like 116,000 or so. Then we'll see if we reject back down. If we lose 113,000, we're turning back down. But I just want to say that in the 116 to 117,000 range, that's going to be tough resistance. So we could kind of like push a bit, then reject. We need to get back up at least 117,000 for there to be some hope for bulls. But I think we kind of push a bit only to reject. So Tesla could run to 312 to 315. I think 315 could be tested, but I don't know if we just break that. We could reject off that again. If we break 315, we might be going a bit higher for like the low 320s, and then we reject back down. So we'll see if it's 320 or 315, which way Tesla goes. So keep that in mind. Nvidia is trying to push for 182. There's a good chance we do try to push towards that resistance. I don't know if we break this high, but we could kind of turn back down to 177 if it doesn't break, forming a slanted head and shoulders in case that's the case, especially as we have a gap down here to fill. So look for a test of 182, and we'll see if we reject or not, but there is upside potential. For Apple, we're making lower highs. Unless we get back above 206, we're still favoring the low 200s, and we're going to have to see how it goes. Netflix looks more bullish. As long as we don't lose 1170, we're going to be favoring 1180 as our target, and we're going to see if we reject. Because keep in mind that this white trend line is resistance, and we might be kind of like pushing towards like 1180, and we're going to see if we turn back down. MSTR is also making lower highs. We're going to be watching the low 400s to see if we reject. We could be essentially pushing for like 400, and we'll see if we turn back down. Celsius is pushing basically towards 45.7 to 46. Then we'll see if we turn back down from there. Supermicro looks bullish. It might be pushing towards the 60 area, approaching earnings. We're going to see if we blast off up or down, depending on how things go. It depends on earnings, so keep that in mind. Palantir is bullish after earnings, favoring 168 to 170, so it could be pushing for 170, and we'll see if we break that or not, but for now, we're looking good. Rivian has a double top rejection. We're rejecting so far. We're going to see if we break 1284 or not. Otherwise, we're looking for the low 1220s. SoFi is making lower highs here. We could be pushing for basically 22.5, and then we're going to see if we get a rejection. AMD is pushing here. We could be looking for an attempt for basically 182, and we'll see if we reject. If we lose 174.7, we're going to be turning back down, but I do anticipate the low 180s, 182 or so, then we could turn back down to fill that gap. ARM is looking a bit more bullish. We're favoring an inverse head and shoulders. We could be slowly pushing for like 144 depending on earnings. The chip stocks could affect this, so there could be a small bounce for 144. It does look a bit more bullish. PayPal might be retesting 69.78 to 70, and we're going to see if it rejects, so look for more upside. Coinbase is just consolidating. It's not looking too good. We have resistance around 325 and support at 310. Might kind of push for 324, consolidate, and turn back down to the low 300s. Amazon is looking kind of weak here. It's just rejecting over and over again. Unless we get back above 218 to bounce, we're favoring consolidation tomorrow morning around 215, then a big rejection for the low 200s, like 208 or below. We still look weak. Meta is favoring 780. If that breaks, we're looking for a move closer to 800. We'll see if we reject. Google could be looking for 196, and we'll see if we reject off this or not. It might be pushing a bit higher. Microsoft is looking for an attempt for basically the low 540s, inverse head and shoulders here. So I could see 540 plus to 542, and we'll see if we reject off that or not, but there could be temporary upside. DJT might try to bounce for basically 17.25. The VIX is rejecting it as a gap to fill down here around 16.67. That could be looking a bit more bearish. The 10-year is looking bearish, favoring the low 4% area. The dollar is kind of flat right here, and so is crude. So in essence, my main thesis is the market's bullish for now. As long as SPY holds 631, we're favoring 631. As long as we hold that, we're favoring 635, and we'll see if we reject off that or not. But for now, we're looking bullish. And then for Tesla, this could drag us up to like 312, maybe even 315 tomorrow. And if we break 315, I'm looking for 320, so I do see some upside potential for at least 315, and we'll see if we reject off that or not, especially as time goes on. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have an awesome rest of your guys' day, nights, and evenings, and I'll be back tomorrow before market open for another update. Until then, I wish you all nothing but the best. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and peace out.